Welcome to today's live stream. In today's live stream, we're gonna look at something really nice, which is of course Sim Update number 5 beta. But as you might have found out, we had some technical difficulties, but luckily those are resolved now. So let me double check if you see the screen, because I'm showing you the screen of the release notes, but it doesn't look like that it works. It's really a nightmare today. It doesn't look like to work. Let me, in that case, show my full screen. And let's go to everything, which is super nice. And in this case, it's the release notes of Sim Update number 5. Right, currently you see the installation, right, Flight Simulator 2024, and you can see it's being bumped up to version 1770. Let me open the release notes, because the release notes tell us a little bit more, because there also are some new functionalities in the sim. If the release notes are opening, of course, because that also doesn't look like to work. So it starts really nice, really not. All right. So let me see if I can fix that for you while we're talking. In this case, I'm hoping that the sim update is opening. Oh, here we go. This looks a little bit better. So I'm going to move now to the web section. Right, you can see it. This are the release notes for Flight Simulator 2024 Sim Update 5 Beta 2. So first of all, it bumps up the version to version 1.7.7. And there are some new functionalities. First of all, right, they say, hey, if you suffer, stability, loading issues, then you need to remove everything from your community folder. But as as I am like all the other simmers, I just left everything in because I want to see how it works. New content. There's some new content. There's an added sim rate under the minimap, and there are some general bug fixes where the time does not advance while the weather panel is opened, and there were fixed several options not being properly set in the effect and animation category of the settings. I'm not going to go too deep into them. Install performance, they added a pop-up while changing the language. Well, we're not going to test that. And there's something where they temporarily fixed the visual glitch for the AMD Radeon RX 9XX, which was due to badly read exposure on divergent code path. So just asking, I would say, the people who are watching who has the Radeon RX 9XX and has issues with it, because I'm really curious. I'm looking at the chat while continuing, right? There's a new thing in the aircraft. There's a new feature in the aircraft. They fixed an issue causing the GNS 430 and the 530 sim attachments to have their zoom, de-zoom buttons inverted. That's something I also, experienced, right? You couldn't zoom into the panels anymore, which is weird. And there's something new, which for some reason they didn't put it in a new category, but the Cessna 172 Skyhawk, the classic variants, are now equipped with the Avidyne IFD540 and 430, 550 and 540, rather than the GNS 530 and 430. So we're gonna have a close look at that one, because that's really interesting. Besides that, there are some things like they added a way to indicate the speed level at which gear take damage when immersed in the water. This is likely something which developers can use and not something which you can use as the, simmer. And there are some pneumatics and ES systems, also variants, which are likely only for developers and not for us as normal simmers. In addition to that, they fixed some issues again in the career mode. Career mode still has some issues. They had a fallback if the airplane crashes when spawning on the parking, and they fixed the flight path in familiarization flights not displaying its first lag. They fixed the taxi ribbon on the runway, sometimes displaying an unquiet U-turn, and they fixed a lot of airports. Specifically the helipads on ground colliding with buildings and vegetation. That's something which they fixed, and a lot of virtual reality things. They added an option to disable the HUD while in the cockpit, and they added a shortcut in the bottom bar to indicate how to switch to VR when a headset is detected on the main page, and the cockpit tooltip cards are now closer to the currently hovered element in virtual reality. And of course they fixed the bug where the virtual reality preset option was not correctly loaded after a game's reboot. Besides that, there's now new support. They added new native support for peripherals. The question is, which peripherals? I don't know. There's really no documentation about it, but keep in mind that there are some changes to that. If we look at the various peripheral fixes, they fixed conflict with leaving cockpit interactions on gamepads would also decrease the throttle by 1%. This is something I didn't experience, but hey, it's fixed. Besides that, there are a lot of fixes for the dev mode, as you can see, but we're not gonna look at those because we're always looking only at those nice things, which are, I would say, for us as between brackets real simmers. So let's switch back to, in this case, Flight Simulator 2024. If it hasn't crashed, let me double check. Did it crash? Did it crash already? No, it didn't crash. Luckily, lucky me. So this is a Flight Simulator 2024 sim update 5 beta. So let's first start with that nice one, with that nice say Cessna 172, because the Cessna 172 has that new radio, and I think that's the most interesting fix, which I would say you might have been waiting for. So we need to select the Cessna, and of course after that we need to click the configure button because we need to switch to a different aircraft. There's still a bug that you can't click configure, so I need to press the letter F from Foxtrot, which brings me to the configuration page. In this case, I'm going to select the basic one, because the basic one is likely the legacy one, where you can also see the G1000. Those are the G1000 variants. So we're good to go. We're going to go one level back, and then again one level back, and then we're going to put the aircraft somewhere on the world. Is there a preference? I'm looking at the chat, though there's no preference. So also see not a lot of people, but it might come, I would say, pretty soon. So let's go to, in this case, Austin. No, let's go to Hornsby, right? Let's go to a small airport, because that's, I would say, more for the Cessna. And we're going to put it over here on a helipad. That's not a good idea. Let's put it then, in that case, over here. That's where we're departing. Also not a good idea. Come on. I always select the wrong airport, right? Let me select something else. Let's go to the bird's nest. Looks, I would say, kind of cool. Then we're going to put the aircraft on a small rampage over here, and we're going to click start the flight. We're not going to program any flight. We're just going to have a look at that radio, how it looks like, because that's, I would say, one major thing, because they swapped the radio for the Cessna 172 classic variants from the GNS 530 and 430 to the Avidyne IFD550 and 540. So that's pretty interesting that they changed it. So let's see if we can see what has happened. So here we are, we're in the aircraft. We're going to press ready to fly, and then we're going to have a look at it. But first of all, of course, we need to walk around and remove all the things. So let's do that. Let's move around and let's see how this works. So we're going to click on these things and then remove everything, right, which is required. Of course, you can always open the EFB, which is over here, and then click on that aircraft icon and then go to the checklist yourself, right? Because here it says what you need to do. I would say you can see that the checklist is pretty extensive for the for this aircraft, but for now I'm gonna leave it for. I would say I kind of leave it as is, and I'm gonna simply enter the aircraft by pressing Shift and then the C. So we're now inside the aircraft, and let's see what they changed, right? Because they said they changed the well, they didn't change it. Because I was expecting that it was also now showing the Avidyne IFD550 and 540 rather than the GNS 530 and 430. And what I see, it's the C172 Classic, the Cessna 172 Classic Skyhawk. It still has this one, right? What's that? Because they said in the release note that they've changed it. That's really crazy. Well, let's do it a different way, because this is GNS, not correct, right? So we shouldn't use this. So let's go to the main menu and let's switch back and then say try another one. So here we go for the 172, the 172 Skyhawk. That's where we go. Here it says, okay, that's good. So let's press configure in that case. Let's try to change it to something else. G1000. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Tau, amphibious. Yeah, there is only one 172, right? Is the typo in the, I would say, in the release notes, or do they mean something else? Because to be honest, I don't think it has changed. Well, what we can try, of course, is do the 152 But also let's have a look at the, let's say, people complaining about this, because they say that they changed it, but it looks like that they didn't change it. But maybe we should, I would say, not pay too much attention to it, because it's kind of weird. So I'm seeing also people complaining. Yeah, so there are more people complaining. It looks like that it can't be found. Maybe it's something, but they didn't reply yet. So let me also reply to that. Me neither. Reply. So in that case, we're going to do a different test. We're going to do a test for performance. So let's go into the G1000. So we're skipping the test for the radio, because apparently something either went wrong with Asobo, or they simply would say made a mess of the release notes, which sometimes also happens. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch on the developer mode. Right, so we're going to go to advanced. We're going to switch on the developer mode, because I want to show you the frames per second, right? Display the FPS. You can see it's currently on. I can switch off the developer. Oh, I need to switch on the developer mode, and then switch on the display FPS, and then click dev mode exit. This is also weird. In the past, this worked. Well, let's try it again. Here we go, display FPS. So I'm going to first show you the graphical settings, of course. The graphical settings are pretty high, but I'm using a 4090 card using a crazy low resolution. And before people start saying, hey, this is, I would say, not testing correctly, this has to do with streaming, because if I stream full resolution using my widescreen, it looks very ugly to you. So that's why I decided to change it like this. Right, this might cause some performance improvements from my side, but hey, this is how I used to fly when streaming. So frame rate has been set to 30. You might also ask why. Well, there was a nice discussion from another fellow YouTuber which said, well, why would you want to have, I would say, 140 or 120 refresh rate in Flight Simulator, because it doesn't make any sense. And what you see is that this part, which I also covered in my previous video, that they now moved it to a separate window where you can configure everything. Those terrain levels, the object levels, those are having, I would say, a high impact on your sim. So if you want to change them, you can change that, but be aware of that has an impact on the sim, both on the GPU, but also on the CPU, right? So currently everything is green, so we're good. So I'm going to press cancel and then hit escape. And let's put the aircraft somewhere. Let's put the aircraft somewhere on the world, the G1000. So we're going to zoom into this area again and then give it another try. But keep in mind that I would say it it doesn't have that new radio. I'm not sure what it is. I think they made a mistake, to be honest. One of the other things which I observed, but I'm not sure if that's was previously, I thought that you could hover over these items previously and then see the, in this case, the parking spot. In this case, you don't see it, but let's hit start to fly and let's give it a try to see how the performance is in this latest, I would say, sim update beta version, which is the second one, right? Only the second one. So that's, pretty good, right? Not too bad. I do think that there will be a little bit more builds before it will be released to the wider public, of course. But let's see how fast Asobo is this time, because last time it took, well, several months before they released it. I'm hoping that this time it will be, let's say, a little bit faster. So first of all, we're going to move around, right? You can see you can move around, and then I would say we're still limited by the main thread for some reason, but it still is, I would say, good enough to walk around. So let's do that. We're going to walk around here, and then I'd say going to also switch on the sound for the game itself, because that's what we can do. We're going to move to this aircraft, and then we're going to go inside the aircraft, and we're going to do it the easy way. We're going to press Ctrl E and start the engines. So for some reason in the release notes, they said that we've got the new navigation or radio systems, but for some other reason, it's not there. So don't be disappointed if you're testing Flight Simulator 2024 sim update, sim update 5, and then beta 2, I would call it. Don't be surprised that you don't see that item, because for some reason it looks like it didn't make make it. How to enable the mode, right? So if somebody doesn't know how to enable the FPS mode, simply go to the settings, enable the developer mode, and after that you can enable this one. And you can see we're pretty good, right? Not too bad. So we're also gonna click this button, and then we're gonna wait till the aircraft is ready, and then we're gonna try to move around. Well, I'm thinking that I also forgot to remove the let's say did I forgot to remove the yes, I forgot to remove the chocks, and that's not very smart, right? So here we go. Everybody's happy. Yes, almost. We only need to switch on the beacon, and then the landing and the taxi light, nav and strobe. We're also going to switch it on. Let's see if we can, I would say, get this aircraft airborne. So we're going to move the throttle a little bit up and then see how it works, because we're going to measure the performance. Let me remove the parking brakes. Oh, I forgot to map it. Or did they screw again the mapping? Yes, it looks like that they screwed up the mapping again. Oh no. No, it's set correctly. That's kind of weird. Not sure what's going on in that case. Let me move the aircraft a little bit further. Here we go. So we're now moving. Let's see if we can turn it. Let me move the mouse. And here we go for a test flight using the Cessna 172. I would say I'm not in a very dense area. So of course we're gonna test New York, likely, and also maybe London. Does anybody else want to test in a different city? Give me, I would say, a shout out in the chat, and then I will go to that area and I will do some testing. Again, right, this is sim update 5 beta 2, and there are some fixes, including there should be a new radio for the 172, the normal one, not the G1000, but apparently it's not in there yet. I'm also continuously monitoring the forum in the meantime to see, okay, hey, has anybody else found it already? But it looks like that it's well, not there yet. And of course, also need to keep an eye on my screen. Oh, come on, come on, come on. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. This is not good. So now I gave you something to laugh, right? Because this was really, I was looking at my iPad to see, okay, hey, what happens with that sim update, with that classic variant. And then I forgot to let's say, make the adjustment. But I don't see that anybody else has it, so we're good to go. So let's see. So the clouds are looking pretty nice, so let's go. In this case, let's put the flaps one position down, and then let's go full throttle. So full throttle, and let's see if we can go airborne. You can still see that the frames per second is, I would say, good enough, but hey, it's expected. I'm using, I would say, lower frames per second. Well, I'm also wondering how the VRAM is being, I would say, consumed, because that's what you see in larger areas, likely not in this city, that it will be affected a lot. You can see that it's pretty cloudy, so dark clouds. So let's see if we can take off and then see how this works. You can also see that there are some bugs with, let's say, for example, cars driving in a weird position. So that's something which you saw the truck is driving on a place where it shouldn't be. So this looks like to be something new again, which they introduced, but we shouldn't complain because it's a beta, and beta simply means, hey, it's testing, and you can provide feedback. You can see that I can, say, quickly look around, works perfectly. Also, I'd say if I look over there, it looks nice. So this, I would say, kind of works, but let's move, or let's change the direction a bit, and let's see if we can move to a different area which is a little bit more dense. Any suggestions? Asking in the chat. Let me see. You can also see that this is, let's say, well, trees etc. still look good, so trees are not a problem currently, but hey, that isn't any guarantee that it will not be an issue in the future updates. But you can see that the frames per second is, say, good enough. You can also see that the aircraft is, I would say, pretty stable. We can move around pretty easily. You can see that the frames per second, or it's limited by main thread again. Although it's a less than previously. But again, we're not flying in a very dense area, right? We're not seeing, let's say, a lot of things happening here. I can also move around with the mouse without any issues. So it's not, I would say, causing an issue here. So this is the first part of the flight, right? So let's first do some testing over here. You can see it also, the aircraft moves slowly and nicely. If I look at the GPU memory, it's roughly 9 gigs currently, but that makes sense because there's not a lot of things to show here, because it looks like that this is really in the middle of nowhere. So let's move to a different area, because I've seen enough from this, because this, let's say, it is looking okay. Nothing really weird happening. So let's move to, in this case, a different area as mentioned already. Oh, let's move to the main menu. And then let's move to New York City, because New York City is a pretty heavy scenery. So let's see how that works. New York City, oh, here we go. It's cloudy. Let's put the aircraft here. Set this departure and then hit start and fly. Let's test it first with the Cessna. Later on, we're going to test it with, I would say, a heavier aircraft. And with a heavier one, I really mean the Phoenix A320, because that's a third-party aircraft, but it's super heavy. So I also see that, I would say, other people are reporting now that it looks like to be a bug in the release notes, or at least it's not there yet. And I'm talking about that new radio in the Cessna 172, which is in the release notes, but which is not in the sim. So here we go. We are above New York City. We're flying around here. Let's see how this works. You can see a lot of dark clouds, and clouds mean it's also hammering the GPU. You can see that currently we're at 11 gigs of memory of the GPU, which is good. But I do see some, I would say, ugly things, if I must be, I would say, honest. If we compare the views here from the photogrammetry, it's still, I'd say, there's still some ugly things over here. But I do think that most of us are experiencing them also, right? Not sure what it has to do with, but sometimes it looks super ugly. Sometimes it looks super nice. You can also see that the limited by main thread is heavily affected currently. So we're limited by main thread in this case while flying over New York City. You can still see that it's a little bit windy, but we're now flying pretty low over the city. But you can see, okay, over here. Right, no stuttering, nothing. So it's pretty good. We're also pretty high frame rates per second. So let's drop the altitude a bit by decreasing the throttle. And then we're going to fly to John F. Kennedy Airport, because John F. Kennedy Airport is also, it's a busy airport. And I'm wondering what happens, because normally when you're visiting those airports, you will see that Flight Simulator will be, I would say, become, well, not unstable, but it will start to kind of, let's say, well, how would you call it? Stutter. That's probably the best word. So we're currently flying over New York City. You can see that we're still, I would say, hammered by the main thread. And the main thread simply means, okay, hey, it's hammering the CPU. And that's, I would say, well, is it good? Well, that depends. Some people all report that they've got green values for everything, but that's likely because they also tune down, I would say, Flight Simulator, right? They are okay with, I would say, not everything on ultra, or at least most of the settings on ultra. And I, of course, did that because I think it should be doable with this one, with this nice graphic card, the 4090. You can see also that the scenery builds up, right? So let's see if we can move around a bit. Let's watch out that we're not, let's say, hitting the buildings, of course. Both photogrammetry content. Bah, I'm not sure what you think about it, but would say it still doesn't look how it should be. let's put it that way. But performance-wise, it's still pretty good, right? We're still limited by the main thread. Not sure that's caused by OBS. Hi, Brian. Welcome. So let's see if we can move around. So we're going to move and fly to John F. Kennedy, right? John F. Kennedy is a heavy airport, as you might know. So let's see if we're coming close to John F. Kennedy, how well Flight Simulator will perform. Because as we all know, if we're coming close to very big airports, it could have an impact on the performance. So let's see how that works. You can see the clouds look super nice if you ask me. Also, the reflection in the window looks cool. So I would say I'm pretty happy with this. So let's move around. Let's also see, okay, hey, can we move the aircraft a little bit? I would say let's do a direct to, right? Let's open the flight plan and there's nothing in, right? That's expected. So let's go to, should we do something nearest? Yeah, why not, right? So let's hit the button and also keep an eye on the other things. Here we go. And then hit enter. Activate. That's simply to help me, say, figuring out where we need to fly to. And then I, of course, need to move my screen a little bit, like that I can see where I need to fly to. So we're flying above New York City. You can see that the memory starts to increase, right? We started with roughly 11. Now it's already at almost 15. So 15 gigabytes of the, say, of the GPU. So let's see where we can fly to. So we're currently flying to John F. Kennedy to see if the stuttering happens with the Cessna. I know the Cessna is not the most heaviest aircraft, say from performance perspective. So be patient because we're gonna test heavier aircrafts also to see, hey, how will they work in Flight Simulator 2024 sim update number 5 already, and then the beta number 2, because that's the second version, right? The second beta which has been released. It has been released yesterday/today. It's a little bit vague because I always are too late. So we're gonna tune into New York approach. And then let's see. So it's nice weather, a little bit cloudy. You can see that I would say the wind's blowing every time. So then we're gonna contact the nearest airport, and then we're gonna try to find a new, or John F. Kennedy, of course. Do we already see it? I don't see it yet. So airports farther from you. And let's see if we can find it in this list. Oh, here it is. John F. Kennedy request full stop. Let's see if we're allowed to land on the airport. 41 right, enter left traffic. So what we of course could do is we could open the procedure button and then select the right procedure, right? So we can go to the approach, or we can select the arrival. So approach, and then we can select, what was it? Runway 31 Romeo. We're gonna use ILS vectors. Activate. Yes. So here we go. No, I don't want to remove it. Come on. Here we go. Let's first figure out where we are. Yeah, it looks pretty good, Brian. I fully agree with you. But of course, I didn't, let's say, pay any attention to where we are. And I'm not familiar at John F. K. Airport, right? So what we're going to do is we're also going to have a look at the flight plan and then zoom into John F. Kennedy. And let's figure out where runway 31 Romeo is. Come on. It's not here. Likely, I would say like going crazy, right? Because we're flying over the airport. And that's not what they like. Come on. Okay, and there it is. Now I know where I am. Okay, so I will close this. Yeah, I know that I'm flying as a crazy pilot. Fully agree with that. So let's figure out. So we're here, right? We can see the runways over there, but we need to make a turn because we were assigned the left approach. I set up the ILS, but we're not going to use the ILS. I'll think about because, hey, we're flying VFR. But you can, of course, use it. One thing which I want to mention is that in the release notes, they say that there's a new radio for the 172, not the let's say G1000, but the normal 172. But apparently there's a bug which I would say results in that you don't have it. So that's kind of, let's say, weird. I'm also looking at the say in the forum while I'm flying. Normally you should do that, right? Normally you should simply pay attention to the flight. But let's see if we already have something over there. CTDs, aircraft and systems. You can see it's performing pretty well. And over there, right on our side, is John F. Kennedy. You can see that we're flying over those runways. I would still have hoped that there was an option. I know that it's in the, let's say, in the missions that you can say, hey, I am flying over or requesting permission to fly over the airport. And I don't think it's still there, right? So there are no options there where you can say, hey, I want to fly over the airport, which is, I think, still a pity. But hey, maybe they will change it in the near future. So let's hide the HC window. Need to find a way to hide it normally because I've got to say on the joystick I didn't map and say a button to it. So we're going good. We can also, of course, zoom into this map, right? The map over here, because this map also has, let's say, a nice option and a nice view. So let's move it. Here we go. And we need to land on 31 Romeo. So 31 Romeo. So what I did is I set up, I would say, kind of the ILS approach, but of course there's no need to fly the ILS because we've been assigned the VOR approach. But at least to understand, okay, hey, which direction do we need to fly to? It's always handy, right? And I think everybody agrees with that. You can see it's a little bit windy. As you can see, a little bit windy, also dark clouds above us. Hopefully that's not a sign for us. But you can still see that the frames per second is pretty good. So we're on our way to land on John F. Kennedy, runway 31 Romeo, to see, okay, hey, does it start to stutter? Because that's what I'd say trying. Okay, Brian says, okay, he's tracking his son's flight. He should be arriving in Dubai in 35 minutes. The A380. So is your son really flying? Is he a real IR pilot or not? Is that request airspace crossing on standard HC or is it an add-on? No, I think it's default. The intense. I think it's default in one of those missions. I saw it in one, I would say in an earlier version, that you could say, hey, can I fly over the airport? Yes or no. But for some reason, I've seen it only once or twice, and after that I didn't see it anymore. So I'm really wondering, okay, if they have, I would say, removed it completely or something else. Okay, passenger. He works for Google. Okay. Nice. So Brian, did you add the Google Maps to your flight simulator in that case or not? So let's start turning, right? Let's start turning to the in this case to the because we assigned the downwind approach, right? For those who are wondering, hey, what is that guy doing? Well, that guy is following the instructions. They say, okay, hey, you need to fly left traffic and then wind. And we were assigned, where we enter left traffic, right? So we're landing VFR. So that's good. So I'm gonna move it. Yeah. But what's your experience with the photogrammetry content, Brian? I'm really wondering. Do you think it's good or is it sometimes really ugly? My experience is sometimes is really ugly, but overall, if you fly high enough, I would say it's pretty good. And did you also try out the A380 from fly-by-wire in that case? I'm also wondering that. You can see an aircraft is above us, right? That likely will not land on John F. Kennedy because they're too high. So let's start turning a bit. And let's see. We're still good. We're going into the correct direction. The line comes closer for the localizer. So let's see how this works. And I'd say, so let's see. So who from you is on, I would say, sim update number 5, right? Tell it in the chat. Is someone already in sim update number 5 beta, or are you on the safe side between brackets sim update number 4? Because sim update number 4 is also, I think it's pretty stable. But hey, maybe I'm making a lot of people mad now because they don't agree with me. So let's see. So we're gonna turn over here a little bit too far. And in front of us there you can see New York City, but you also see that, let's say we're close to John F. Kennedy. It's a little bit windy, right? So a little bit, would say, we're, say, blown sometimes back. You can see that it sometimes is decreasing the aircraft. We can see that localizer now, say, is gonna center, and that's good because then we know that we're pretty close to, say, that idle line. You can see that also the navigation is suspended, so that's fine. We don't need to worry. That's also what you can see here, right? It's suspended, so you can click it again and then it's active. For those who are not aware of that, you can activate it and then it will move around. But for now, I think we're good because we don't need to use the ILS. We can simply use this nice option and fly VFR. Likely they will kill us, right? Because above us, there's already another airplane. Although that other airplane, gears are still up. So I'm wondering if they can, can land on the airport. I do think that they will do a go round. Let's see. But for now, it's pretty stable. There's no, I would say, big, I would say bumps. I do think that the other aircraft is gonna land, but they will definitely need to go around because they will miss the approach. And of course, I also need to pay attention to the screen because else we also need to do a go round. Although I think they can still land. I was expecting them to be further away. Then in that case, let's keep an eye on the ATC, because the ATC, I would say, did we get the approval? No, we did. Officially, we didn't get the approval, right? So we can't even land. But this is simply to see, okay, hey, how does the performance work? Let me also increase the throttle a bit. There's pretty heavy wind, I would say. It's continuously blowing us away, so we need to continuously make adjustments. I think we are really unlucky because, say, people are driving over the runway, etc. But our aircraft is so slow, so we probably don't need to worry that much. And of course, our descent rate is far too fast. Oh, here we go. Oh, not too bad, I must say. Flying Europe. Yeah. Maybe we should also try, I would say, Europe. So Brian, question to you is, where do you want to fly? Right? Where do you want to fly to? And the intent say, must have been an EasyJet pilot. They don't believe to Indigo around. Yeah, maybe that's the case. Well, as you saw me, right? I can also be an EasyJet pilot because I also bypass every rule in Flight Simulator 2024 and likely in aviation. You can see that the frames per second is now decreasing a bit, but it's still not that bad, right? It's still mainly, I would say, limited by main thread, but overall it went okay. So we need to, say, exit the runway, of course. So let's see. Let's do the brake. Does it work? Yes, brake also works. So next idea is that we're going to move to London City, because London City is also... Oh, here we see some stuttering. Did you saw it? Stuttering happened, but it's not that bad. It's also pretty, I'd say, dense airport, as you can see. So let's give it a try. Let's go to London, right? So let's move to the main menu. And then let's move to London, and let's try it also with a different aircraft. So which aircraft should we try? So also typing it in the chat to give everybody the option to say, hey, which aircraft should we try? Right, we can either use one of the default aircrafts within Flight Simulator. We can, of course, also jump to, for example, the Phoenix aircraft. Echo Golf Hotel Foxtrot is an option. Yeah, we could go there. But what's the aircraft which we should use? And then we're gonna go to Echo Golf Hotel Foxtrot. Let's do that. Let's already do that part. Echo Golf Hotel Foxtrot, and that is Lyon-Solent. That's over here. Let's see, it's a small airport, right? This looks like it's not really big. We also can't fly IFR. It's a small ramp, small. But let's set this. I would say we already set this departure. Small, but my local airport. Okay. Just Flight Warrior 2. Okay, so now the question is, which aircraft should we use? Should we use the Boom XB1? Should we use one of the other general aviation aircrafts? Up to you. Let's see what the audience decides. We can also use a helicopter, of course. We can use the Grumman. We can use the Jetson. We can use the NAMC. Also a nice aircraft, by the way. The ATR, also an option. The Textron is an option. The CG4 is an option. Let me know which one you want to use. I don't see any reaction yet. 1, 2, 3. CG4 it will be. So we're going to use the CG4. My favorite, I don't have a favorite. Oh. I would say I love the Phoenix A320, but likely it can't take off from this airport. A nice temporal would be good to see. Yeah, now I just selected the jet. Here we go. We're now going to go with the with this one. Let's change the, I would say, change the day, because else we don't see anything. Let's also adjust the time a little bit. Let's do it like this. Here we go. So we're on the runway. Now I need to make sure that my joystick is mapped correctly, because that sometimes doesn't work. And I'm using the Phoenix Ursa Minor joystick. And in some cases it doesn't map it correctly. So let's do that. Here we go. Which joysticks are you using, by the way? Let me also know via the chat. Because I'm curious which one you are using. Are you also using the wing sim, the wing controls, or are you using a different one? Let me hide this one. So here we can see it's mainly limited by main thread. We're at 75 frames per second. Not that good, for not that bad. Let's say not that good, but it's not that bad. So here we go, airborne already. So let's do gears up. Wing control. Okay, Ryan. Yeah. How do you like it? How do you like wing control? So we're airborne, as you can see. We didn't set up any flight plan. You can see the weather's a little bit foggy. So not that nice. So let's see if we can fly around, and let's see if we can make a nice turn, etc. Let's see how stable it is. Cool. I'm waiting for my throttle. I've just paid it, so I'm waiting for the throttle to arrive. But it's kind of, it's a challenge, right? Getting those equipment. I'll tell you even a funny story. I ordered both the joystick and the throttle at the same time, and at one point it was taking pretty long. I ordered them, say, in December time frame. Then I canceled the complete order. I ordered them separately, and I received the joystick in, I think, 2 or 3 days. So recommendation for you, if you see that there's no stock, buy them separately, because if you buy them separately, the chance that you will get the equipment, the joystick earlier, is, I would say, pretty high. Yeah, the throttle is brilliant. Yeah, I can't wait. I've paid for it, and it looks like it will be coming soon. So I've got also the MCDU for the Airbus, which is also pretty nice. So I really love their stuff. So let's see, right? You can see that the frames per second is climbing now because we're airborne. You can see it's the clouds are also looking super nice, if you ask me. Let's also, let's say, not go too high. I also need to keep an eye on my where I'm flying to. So anything you want me to fly to, because it's, as you can see, the clouds are there. So if we climb pretty high, we likely don't see a lot. So let's switch on the autopilot for now. Let's see if that works. Autopilot, right, should work normally. Let's do those basic checks also. I'm gonna switch on the autopilot. We're gonna set up the altitude to, what shall we do? 10,000. But we're almost there. So 10,000 feet doesn't make really sense. Now I lost the FLC button, right? So where's the FLC? Oh, it's over here. But let's set the altitude to 15. 15,000, that will be the altitude. Yeah. Are you waiting for the Airbus panel with the gear leveler? Yeah, that's also a pretty cool one. Did you also have the what is called the EFIS? Because the EFIS is also pretty, I would say, pretty nice. If you look at the clouds, look at the level of detail of the clouds. Not know what you think about it, but I think it's pretty cool. So Brian has a lot of equipment, as it looks like. Pretty nice. I love it. So currently we're flying on, I would say, on the heading mode, right? So we can turn around. So where are we flying to? That's of course the question. So here we're going to, right? So this is the direction which we're flying. You can also see that this looks pretty nice. EGLL, that could be, or let's say, let's add it to the flight plan as a waypoint. Then we're gonna send it to the avionics, so we don't have to do it ourselves. And then we need to press the execute button. Execute. Flight plan. But as you can see, it's not there yet. It says no flight plan. Pretty funny. So Brian has a lot of things, as it looks like. So let's zoom into this. And let's do a direct to nearest airports. Let's scroll down. Let's go to the next page. They're too close. Let's go direct and then say EGLL. Execute. Here we go, and then we switch on the navigation mode to make ourselves life easier. So you can see that the clouds are pretty nice. I'm not sure what you think about it, but I think it's pretty cool. So we're 40 nautical miles from EGLL, which is London Heathrow, and we're flying far too fast. Did you see it? Let's say we need to decrease altitude, or we need to decrease it. We need to decrease the speed. Let me see, check the flaps. Flaps were also not correct, right? This is not what you want. And this aircraft really has some nice options, right? The only thing which it doesn't have is the auto throttle. And with the, because this is touch and go, if I'm correct. So you need to do it yourself. So you need to keep an eye on your, in this case, on your speed. So, but it's decreasing already. So let's see. We're at 10,000 feet. Well, I said, okay, you need to climb to that next altitude, which is 15. Let's see. Also, if you look over here, right, you can see the reflection. That's also super cool. What do we have there? Oh, that's the roof of the cockpit, of course. So why is it turning? Likely we need to, say, change it, because you can see it didn't pick up the, let's say the, it says, okay, for preset 1. Come on. Let's do it another way in that case. Let's use the old and good method, because it didn't pick up the navigation system, right? So we need to switch it to FMS 1 and then press the option again. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to change it, because it looks like it's completely lost. Well, that's probably me, right? I would say that's probably my issue, because I did something wrong. So I don't blame Flight Simulator, it's my fault. So let's hit direct again, EGLL, execute, here we go, again. Switch on the nav mode. Set switch on the nav mode. It's kind of weird. It looks like it doesn't pick it up, but that's probably me. So don't worry too much about this. So I'm going to switch to the heading mode, and then we're going to turn the aircraft. And likely what we're going to do next is really say do a correct flight, right? How you would do it correctly, the correct way. Because you can see that for some reason the autopilot, well, it looks like the autopilot is completely broken, if you ask me. I need to disconnect it, then enable it again. You see what happens? It looks like it doesn't follow the heading in this case. It continues to turn. So let's see if it now kind of flies straight. It doesn't look like to be the case. Let's move it the other way. Does it react? Yes, I think the autopilot is broken in this update, to be honest. Because you can see it continues to move into that opposite direction, where it should really move to the heading. Ah, that's a pity. But hey, it's the sim update, right? It's a sim update, it's a new update. So for some reason, the autopilot looks like to be broken or something. So let's switch off the autopilot in that case, and then we'll fly manually to London. Disconnect it. Here we go. And now we can steer, hopefully. No, we can't steer even. Why not? Ah, come on. It looks like something is broken here, my friends. So let's do something else. Let's do something else. What should we try now? What should we try next? Asking the people in the chat, because there's a lot of activity. That's what I like. See also some people making new friends, right? Exchanging, okay, hey, some other information. I would say let's go for now a heavier aircraft. Let's go for the A320. A320. We're first going to use the default A320, right, which is the A320 Neo. Of course, we could also use the fly-by-wire. I'm also a big fan of that one. And we're going to take off from London Heathrow, right? EHLL. No, not EHLL. Heathrow. Come on. Can't I type? Well, likely I made a mistake there. Here we have it already, right? Since departure. Oh, EGLL. And then we're going to fly to somewhere else. So we're going to fly to Madeira. So I'm going to set up now a full flight because I want to understand how that works, right? EGLL. Here we go. And then we're going to fly to... Always a nightmare to move this one around. Let's fly to Amsterdam Airport. Let's make it short flight. Does make sense, I know. Then fly the Victor Airways, find the routes. Here we go, and then say send to ATC and avionics, and then why doesn't it work? And this also, normally this would work. Come on, my friends, why is everything broken? Reset the flight plan. Let's try it again. Send to ATC and avionics. Am I getting crazy? Probably I am. So let's go back one page and then hit free flight again. Tap the EFB. Then we're gonna set the departure, which is EGLO. Destination, Echo Hotel Alpha Mike. Schiphol Victor Airways, find the route. Send to ATC and Avionics. Now it worked. Okay. Now let's start flight. Manchester to Amsterdam. So pretty, well, it's not that long flight, right? It's only, I would say, a few, maybe an hour or less, I do think. So let's see how this A320 works. I'm gonna change it to day again, right? Because that's what I think it's nicer. Although say this also looks pretty cool. Should we fly day or night? Then in the meantime, I'm gonna check my joystick settings to make sure that they're set still correctly. Airliner, yes, it's fine. Day, yeah, that's what I thought. Let's move it to the day. Let's do, oh, this looks nice. It's weather, it's the rain, so let's see if we can move it around. Let's see if everything is set up correctly. 10,000 feet, which looks okay. Let's remove the parking brakes and then let's go full throttle. Let's also change this a bit. And now I need to watch because else we're gonna move around and that's not what we want. I'm really bad tonight, right? So I'm really not, say, paying attention to everything. Normally this doesn't happen, believe me. So already airborne. At least half airborne. So here we go. It's already up. Yeah. Still, I'd say the frames per second is still pretty good. Here you see some stuttering. You saw it? Yeah, we're taking the scenic route indeed. Then we're gonna go to the throttle and then make sure that we're setting into the correct mode. Do the flaps up. Yeah, we need to decrease further, I know. So here we go. So let's change it. So there was some stuttering happening, but I would say it wasn't that bad, right? There was some stuttering, but it still is, I would say, okay. I think would say, isn't this also new? I haven't seen this earlier, but maybe I'm not flying that much in this A320, but it looks like that this is, I would say, pretty new also. Not sure what you think about it, but let's adjust this also. I'm gonna switch on the autopilot. And then make sure that we're flying to that 10,000 feet. I still see that the main thread is the main cause of the issue, right? So main thread still causing the main issue. So we're going good. We're going a little bit wider, say, corner than we should be. Let me also change this to the standard. Then we also need to change it here. Because else it will start to complain. And even here, right, if you look at this, it simply looks beautiful. I really love it. Love flying with Flight Simulator 2024. I'm pretty happy with the performance as we speak. Also asking the machine specs. If you want, you can share it because I'm really curious about what the machine specs are you're using. In the meantime, I'm also looking at how long we're already online, right? We're, pretty active already for, say, roughly an hour now. So thanks for joining this live stream where we are testing the performance of a Flight Simulator 2024 Sim Update 5 Beta 2. Initially, there were some other plans, right? Plans to test, for example, that new radio, which should be available in the Cessna 172. But unfortunately, it looks like there's a bug where they forgot to add it or something. I'm also looking at some other things while we're talking. I don't see it yet. Let me see. Let me switch back. Let me try to find it. If there's an ongoing discussion about that classic one. Let me see. Maybe the OP doesn't have the... I see some people here say that 172 is part of Deluxe. So I'm replying to the thread. So 2060 and a 4090. Yes, I also have the 4090. So I've got an AMD CPU, an AMD. Now you of course want to know it. Let me double check because I'm really bad at those names. I've got the AMD Ryzen 7900X3D, which is a 12-core CPU. Then I've got 64 gigs of memory. When playing Flight Simulator, I can see it easily touches that 30 gigs. I'm having the Nvidia GeForce RTX 4090 also. I had the 2070 before, the Nvidia card, and I had an AMD Ryzen 7 before, but I replaced it, let's say, just before Flight Simulator 2024 was released, because I thought, okay, it does make sense. So I'll type it also in the window. Let me have a look at it again. Where are we? I think I still see it, right? It's still, I'd say, the frames per second have decreased compared to the Cessna. But if you look at, let's say, the frames per second on the average, it's still, say, good. We're still limited by the main thread, which is something I would say, I'm not sure if you're also having it, but I would say I can't get it green. There are some people who say you can get it green, yeah, but then you need to tune everything down, which I don't want to do. And what's your experience, the Intense, with the lower specs, which are still good? Is it, would say, is it doable or not? So we're 1 hour and 40 minutes live, and you can see it works pretty cool, right? There are not a lot of big issues, to be honest. So everything is working here, right? So let me clear the errors over here. Let's go to the flight plan, because that's what we want to see. We want to see the flight plan. Here's the flight plan, right? So we're flying to Echo Hotel Alpha Mike, which is Amsterdam Airport. I can see that we're, I'd say, we should climb a little bit further eventually. I completely forgot to look at the ATC. And I've turned down my speakers a lot. So we need to climb till 10,000 feet. Why isn't it climbing? Here we go. Oh, we need to climb to 8900. Let's tune it down a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, Flight Simulator 2020 also, I hear still a lot of people using that. But I use Flight Simulator 2020 only to record some videos about the marketplace, to keep people up to date about what's arriving there, but nothing more than that, to be honest. So now we need to climb to 10 out of 15. So let's also do that. Let's turn the knob over here, and here we go to 15. And I'd say performance still nice. So let's see what Ryan. I run my radio panels and SciTech panels from a second PC using Spot next. Third PC running virtual overhead panel. I think Brian has a complete aircraft built. Are you also a pilot in real life, Brian, or not? Yeah, I agree with Brian. Flight Simulator 2024 has definitely improved the last few months. In the beginning, it was really, between brackets, not so nice, but in the last few months, it has definitely improved. Also, clouds have improved. It looks like that they made some server-side change here recently, which improved the clouds again. Also, from stability-wise, it's still pretty okay. You can also see that GPU memory is roughly 11. Okay, not in real life. No. Well, cool that you get all the stuff. I would say I think that you will like that. You also can sometimes see some bugs, right, with the ATC. Here you can see that there are some issues with this. This was also reported in the previous beta versions, that sometimes these characters are incorrect. So maybe that will fix that in the near future. But for now, it's well, still there. I think we're good, right? We're gonna turn the aircraft. Yes, we're turning. Yes, it works. We're turning to frame. So let's, I would say, it's over here, right? And for those who want to see the flight plan, this is where we are. Right, so we're flying a little bit weird. First we're flying, say, we did fly to the east. Now we're flying north, and then we're gonna make the, let's say, fly to the other part of the North Sea, right? And then hopefully we can land on 18 Romeo, which is the runway which we had planned. But let's see. Because this is a little bit longer flight, right? Because I want to see, okay, hey, how does the memory, I would say, hold over a longer time? Does it, would say, still make sense to do, I would say, does it still stay on this, let's say, on this number, or will it start to increase? And currently you can see it's being affected mostly by the main thread, which is, I would say, not a real surprise. Just asking you, Brian, do you also have the main thread issue or not? You can also see that, right? We can move around without any issue, up, down, left, right. So pretty cool. So maybe another test would be if we could go outside the aircraft. Let me see. Let me see if we can go outside. But then I need to pick my other controller because I've got, don't start laughing, I've got an Xbox controller also connected to my PC, and that simply is because the Xbox controller is super useful for, I'd say, things like moving outside the aircraft and then moving around. Right, you can even see it here. This is where we are. Looks super cool, right? And even if you look at the frames per second here, it looks really nice. Also from under the aircraft. We've got also some visitors over there. Some visitors which are, I'd say, higher in the sky than we are. No. Yeah, if you've got an Xbox controller, I would definitely recommend you to use it for these kind of things, because for me it works perfectly. You can also assign different buttons to it, and you can, let's say, zooming into or using that drone mode works perfectly, because you can really slow zoom into the aircraft using the Xbox controller, far more easier compared to the normal joysticks. So where are we? We're flying to check the destination data. Well, that's something we can do, of course. Let's check it. Let's check the performance. Let's check the this is all good, right? Well, we didn't specify a flight number, but that's okay. Flight plan, perf, of course, and then go to the next phase. Destination, oh, it's still good. Only the QNH. QNH, right? We can get it by multiple or via multiple ways, to be honest. You can simply go search the airport, right? This is EGGL, but you can also find the airport in this list, right? And then simply press the E from India, and then you can go to the weather, right? That's where you see IFR is kind of red. Probably that does mean that it's not really good to do. Oh, you don't have the main thread issue. Okay. I do think that might have to do also with my settings, to be honest, or maybe due to the fact that I kind of downscaled the resolution, because that's what someone else said. That might be caused by that. So 30.06, so still enough, let's say, visibility, right? So that's QNH is, I would say, 3006. Temperature 10. We've got some winds. Yes, 13 slash 250. Oh, it's the other way around, of course. 250 slash 13. Oh, 13. We're gonna go for full flaps, so we kind of set up everything which we need to do currently. Oh, okay, doesn't it let you? So where do you try to pose your where do you try to pose them? Because then I can have a look at my Discord, because I think I said everything correct, but I'm not 100% sure, because I recently started Discord and I'm really not, I would say, really into the server management yet. So let's see. You should be able to post it, but maybe I made a mistake somewhere. Let me make you. Probably that's that you're not assigned any role, it looks like. So let me change that. Let me make you private pilot. So Brian, I just assigned you a different role, right? So if you can test it again, that would be great. Oh, Brian, really lovely from you. Really like this. Thank you. Thank you. Really like that. Really kind. So I promoted you to with a new level to the Discord server. Let's see if you can, I would say, can do that. If you can post the images. Maybe we should add, I would say, a special category for that. Think about that. To let people, say, kind of drop their screenshots. Let me know, Brian, if you can post. Let me know if you can post it. That would be, you could say, good to understand if you can post it. And also, I would likely need to, would say, have a look at my my settings also in the Discord. I'm really pretty new to the Discord, right? Yesterday I streamed also another video, but also using using Discord. It was pretty funny. So I'm waiting for the confirmation of Brian if he can post. Likely you're trying to post in the screenshots and videos one, right? So we see that we've got another aircraft pretty close to us, right? That's, I would say, being caused by this nice system. Because this nice system, right, this is a traffic collision avoiding system, which detects the aircrafts which are, I would say, close to you. And this it's not letting me. Let me see if I'm... Let me wait for Brian to confirm. Let me also double check the permissions, because I do think that it might be caused by some permissions which are not set correctly. Private pilot. Let me double check this one. No. Let me see this other one. And now I need to check which permissions I assigned to you, Brian. Welcome and rules. Okay, let me see. Okay, give it a try again. No, I'm not a pilot. I'm also little plus sign is not allowing me to select. So we're there, right? So we're at, I would say, no, I'm not a pilot, so that, to be clear. I'm simply, would say, a flight sim enthusiast like Brian. So now we need to contact Amsterdam, right? And we need to descend to 7,000. We also need to, of course, pay attention to our flight. So let's do that. So here we go. We're going to descend to 7,000 feet because we've just been asked to, let's say, to do so. So it's the three of us now in the stream. So you should be able to see the channel. You should be able to post. Let me see. Let me also see if I can simply not change everything in the on one level, because this takes me a lot of time. Every time changing this behavior. Yeah, now it looks like to work, right? Ah, wow, cool setup. So looks really nice. And the intent, if you also want to follow the Discord, feel free to do so. Brian has posted some nice pictures. So we're descending to 7,000 feet. You can see we're flying over the North Sea. We're flying to Salute. That's over here. We can see also some other nice things. Let's open the VFR map also. VF4, the route, which should show us where we are. So we're currently here, right? And we're flying to Amsterdam Airport, Amsterdam Schiphol Airport. So super nice. So I'm wondering, did you guys buy any, I would say, third-party add-ons in the I'd say, did you guys buy any add-ons like airport or something? I'm also checking now all the other, let's say, channels, because it looks like that I simply did not set up the permissions correctly, which might explain why there's not so much, let's say, discussion in the post. But I'm also trying to figure out how I did it, because it's so. I set it up initially a while ago, but then I didn't pay too much attention to it. But I'm starting to use Discord a little bit more because I think it's super nice. And also gives me a lot of, let's say, other options. We're still descending right to 7,000 feet. So that's cool. Let me see if I can change the server side. Well, that's something I'm gonna have a look at. So Brian, if you are experiencing any other things with the server, right, with the Discord server, let me know. It could be that there are some things which are not working 100% correctly, but I will fix that, say, in this weekend to make sure that everybody can post where they want to post, because it shouldn't be that you can't post or it should be that you could post as a member. I can see that we're currently in the clouds, so it becomes now a little bit nastier, but hey, we always have our nice friends from the navigation system, which are, let's say, perfectly fine, right? Or aircraft keeps track of everything. You can see that the TCAS is standby according to this, but it's set to TARA. I think that I experienced it earlier on, but for now it's working as it should. So let me see. I'm always buying. So we're here with our friends Brian and sorry, I don't know, the Intense. Already for a longer time, we're testing the experience or the performance in flight simulator using the A320. We're flying from, let's say, London Heathrow, and we're on our way to Amsterdam. And you can see that we need to decrease our speed also. So you can see that the aircraft automatically kicks in. The aircraft automatically is gonna decrease the speed due to the fact it's being set up rightly, hopefully in the what's all over here. Right, it says, okay, hey, we need to decrease the speed to 250, which is good. You can see that the weather is a little bit, I would say, wow, it's a little bit vague, right? You can see the clouds are now, I would say, moving away a bit. They're say, really good. We're below that 7,000 feet, so we also need to make sure that we're setting this correctly. Keep in mind that you need to change on both ends of the Airbus, because else you will be, I would say, not screwed, but it could give some issues. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, I would say, everybody for joining, and thanks for all the interactions. I really like it. So super cool. Super cool that you have, let's say, joined this channel. Also, don't forget to join the Discord if you want. Feel free to share your setups. It could be that it doesn't work initially because there are some issues, and I see also Josh from Intense93 also joined. So welcome, Josh. Yeah, say intentions. Yeah, say intentions. I was also looking. That's the AI tool, right, which generates all the audio. I was also looking into that one. That requires a subscription. I was looking at that one. I found also pretty interesting. I saw some movies about it. And I have a colleague who also has it, right? A colleague which I work with on a regular basis, he also has it. He is also, say, a nice setup. He's a 5090 RTX. Even cooler. So did we gears up? Yeah, everything is still good. Can see here you saw some weird things in the clouds, right? Now clouds say changing. That's likely the dynamic weather or something. So you can see that the weather is changing a bit, but that's, let's say, that's okay for now. And as mentioned, I will fix the permissions during this weekend, so everybody can post messages in the channel. By the way, for those who are new to that channel, what I would say what the idea is that every Friday at 4 UTC, I have a bot which creates a post which plans a flight. And that could either be a flight from airport A to airport B, or it could be, I would say, a flight in a city. And then it will also select the airplane or helicopter which we want to use. Then at 8 UTC, every Friday evening, it will create a voice channel. So if you want, you can join that voice channel. What I'm planning to do, like I did yesterday, I also did live streaming and I would say working in that or streaming in that voice chat. I'm currently experimenting a little bit with it, but I think that I say if you want, you can join next Friday. I'm not sure where the flight will be because that's what the bot decides. It's pretty cool. I built a bot which simply decides, okay, hey, where are we gonna fly to? The flight is in most cases 1 hour, sometimes a little bit more. Yesterday we did fly in the US. We did fly from, where was it? We did fly to Salt Lake City. Really nice flight using the Pilatus PC-12 NGX. Was really nice to do. And a lot of fun with, I would say, people in the chat. Although I do see more reactions in the chat here, so really love it. You can see we're still kind of do weird things, right? Hopefully don't get seasick. But here we go. So we're, I would say, entering, I would say, a nice era in this case. So if we look at this part, right, we have been assigned flight level 7000. It's pretty interesting because if you look at this, you can see that the flight levels are far more higher than I would say they should be. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I'd say we're on our way to Sugol, right, which is over here. And here's flight level 80, while we've been assigned flight level 70. I'd say it's still interesting to see how the ATC works. I think the ATC from Flight Simulator itself is not that good. But let's say overall it's fine. But the ATC that one still requires some improvements. So we're at 7000. I can still see that we can move around. For those who are watching later on, right, we tried to look at the Cessna 172, which should have a new radio, but for some reason I would say it doesn't have it. Let me have a check at the channel again or at the forum to see if we got some news there, but I don't think so. No, not yet. But keep you posted about that one, because that's, I would say, if it's there, then I would love to show it to you. So we are going to change to Schiphol approach, right? Different radio frequency. Here we can see the altitude, and the weird thing is that they assigned already flight level 70 to us. So we're already at the correct flight level here. So we can say, well, we can even drink something because until, what is it? Netom, which is over here, we can be at flight level 70. So let's make sure that we're switching the radios because that sometimes doesn't help or doesn't work for some reason. So Discord's also there. So pretty cool. So Brian, if you've got some payware, right, also feel free to add or do your review in the MSF discussion. It could be that you're facing the same issue as you currently or as you had with the video one, but then try tomorrow because, or I would say wait for that, and then I will let you know once the permissions have been fixed via the announcements, if you're okay with that. So we're at say 22.5 from AMS, because here's AMS, right? But we're not gonna fly straight in because we're gonna make a detour because we want to approach. You can see some clouds on the radar over here. That's say pity, but you can also see a lot of clouds here, right? You can also see, if you look up there, you can see the rain almost. At least it looks like it's rain. So it's still pretty cool. We're 1 hour and 45 hours streaming, right? So we started with a flight, I would say simply with a Cessna 172, where we would like to discover, hey, is it really the new radio? No, it wasn't. Then we moved to the 172 with a G1000. We departed from an airport, I think close to Austin, was working perfectly. We moved to New York, then we landed on JFK airport to see, okay, hey, how is it performance-wise? Performance-wise, it was pretty good. Not too many stutters, to be honest, a few small ones. And then we moved over to London based on the request of one of the watchers, and we tried to do that. Very important questions. Are there any cup holders in the cockpit? What? In this one? I don't think so. Why is it an important question? Do you need something to drink? I would say I think it might be this one. I'm not sure what I now just did, but I know that in the 172, oh no, sorry, in the Phoenix, the Phoenix, you can really, would say, have a table over here. You can extend it, but in the default A320, I don't think it has. And also, I don't think that this one is something different. So we're turning, right? It says, okay, hey, we need to descend and maintain 660. So let's do that. Let's adjust it. Here we go. And not fly above 220. So we also need to reduce the speed. But hopefully it picks it up automatically. But in some cases it doesn't. So what we also always can do is, right, we can adjust it, because in some cases it will take the one from the I would say from the MCDU, because this one has a higher one, but because near sea, that's where we need to fly it to 220, right? Currently we don't need to fly it 220. Yeah, they are extension for the foot pedal, I believe. Yeah, that's also what I do think. These ones are extension for the foot pedal. But there's no way that you can kind of, let's say, have the coffee cups. I think they were in one of the other aircrafts. They're likely here somewhere. At least here's one coffee cup. We can place it here, right? We can add it there on the left side. So you can see that we're, say, kind of good, right? We're going, I would say, pretty nice. So we can move again to that. To this mode, because we are at 220. So then we need to descend to 5100. Here we go. And everything is still going okay. I think it works still pretty good. We've got 2 active chatters. Thanks both Brian and the Intense for, let's say, staying with me. Are you, by the way, playing Flight Simulator in parallel while watching the stream, or are you doing it on a separate device? And has your son already landed, Brian? I do think so, right? So welcome in the Netherlands. We're almost there, right? We're flying. We can see that the say things are on, although most of them. can see, let's say, everything which is still good, right? We don't see any, let's say, red flags. We can of course change this to a closer range if we want. Okay. Flight Simulator Day tomorrow. Yeah. It's so nice. It's so... Okay, very good. Okay, now we need to move down to 380. So let's also do that. On a large PC. Okay. So here you can see Netherlands, right? Also looks pretty nice. I must say it looks pretty detailed. Say we're flying, we already passed the coastline. But some case, right? If you love Formula One, they can also do that. But you can fly, can do that. Yeah, it looks really cool indeed. Fully agree with you. So we're at, I would say, we need to be at 3400, right? Because eventually I want to use, of course, the autopilot system to also do the landing, right? I'm a lazy guy. Let's see if we can do that. So we are requested to contact the tower, as you can see. And we, of course, need to yeah, the Flight Simulator weekend. Yeah, it's in Lelystad. Yeah, that's correct. And you have plans to go there or not? I think it's really soon, right? So I've been cleared for ILS, right? So we can switch on the LS ones. We can also move this one to LS if we want. But for now, let's say we're in straight line, which is good. So let's do some flap dropping, right? Oh, not too fast. Flaps settings to 1. And also let's switch on the approach over here. And then we can switch on both autopilots, right? That's also pretty cool. Some people don't know that, but you can switch on both autopilots in the A320, which makes it even nicer. So you can see it's dual, right? That tells you, hey, it's using both ones. Ah, cool. You're kind of a sponsor of Say Intentions. Is that the correct wording or not? Maybe it's not the correct wording. Maybe you're not sponsor, you're simply a big fan of them. Yeah, I'm also really curious about, let's say, about that solution. I'm planning to, say, kind of maybe buy it even. But we need to make some corrections, right? Because you can see that it doesn't work yet. So let me drop it to this. Because in some cases you miss things, right? You've been cleared, but it's super important that you are on the glide slope, because if you're not on the glide slope, you're screwed, because then it doesn't capture that, I would say, then it doesn't capture the settings correctly. It even looks like it doesn't do anything yet now. So it might be that we need to do everything manually. So maybe I should do that. So let me do that. Because I also think some things will go wrong. Now I need to watch out because I can't see. See? This is the issue. So we can't land because we simply missed it due to the fact that the glide slope didn't pick it up. So we really need to say, okay, hey, we did a missed approach. Now they come, hey, you can land. Well, likely that's, let's say, a little bit too far away, right? We're gonna do it. We're gonna declare a missed approach because that's the safest way to do for now. And then we would say we simply do another try. We can do that. Because this was the plan, right? We should have landed on this runway, but for some reason we were simply too high, because likely we missed a message. So let's see. Let's also decrease it. Let's also do the gears up again, because else we're damaging the aircraft, and that's not, of course, what we want. So here we go. Report published. And then we're gonna simply ask it again, right? We will be assigned, so we're gonna go and say, hey, we're gonna go to 2,000 feet. We're gonna make the turn, and then we're gonna try it again, right? This is simply the missed approach. Don't try, as we joked already earlier, that try to land. Then let me know. Thanks, Ryan. Well, yeah, my interaction was great, but I forgot to land, right? So the interaction was good, but the, I would say, landing was a little bit, I would say, well, was a miss. But we will manage it. Don't worry. So let's see. So if we go to the this one, right, we can see that the this is also the missed approach, which is automatically added to your flight plan if you add the let's say, or plan your flight, because it will add the approach directly to your flight plan. So in this case, it will say, hey, I need to go to 2,000 feet, right? So let me also do that. Let me activate the autopilot again. Go to 2,000 feet. Go to 2,000 feet, I said. In some cases, you can see that really weird things are happening because you're pressing the wrong buttons. And that's likely caused by some other settings. So let me push the joystick down, because the joystick is climbing to 5,000. That's not what we want, my friends. We want to descend to 2,000. So let's see if the aircraft now starts to descend to 2,000. In the meantime, what you can do is you can always use the heading mode, right? So you can use the heading mode. Let me zoom out a bit. You can press the heading select mode, and you can move your, in this case, to 295 roughly. So let's do that. Because this is the current mode. Oh, sorry, I'm pressing the wrong button again. So it says, okay, hey, we need to contact them, right? So the autopilot is still switched on, right? So why doesn't the aircraft turn? But let me see. So we're gonna contact Amsterdam Center, right? So let's try it again, because we likely need to, say, do the try again. But you can see that the aircraft is, say, it looks like almost the autopilot is broken or something. It's hard to see. But we can check it here. No, it's touch and go, right? So let's switch on the autopilot again. And let's make sure that it's following our guidance. Likely it's due to the fact that the approach mode is on. It looks like that the autopilot is simply broken for some reason. I'm not sure. It looks like the autopilot is simply completely broken, my friends. I'm not sure why. So let's see if we can fix it. Finally, it's descending again. So let's say report finished with missed approach, right? And now we need to descend a lot, right? Because you can see that we made a huge climb. We made a huge climb to that, I would say, wrong altitude. which is a pity. Which of course is caused by the fact that we didn't pay too much attention to everything. So Airbus clear to red FA, so let's do that via so-good transition. So we're gonna do it again. So we're gonna go to the flight plan and then we're gonna set the arrival, right? We're gonna select 18R red FA1. So we're gonna set red FA1, that's good. Vias, do we also, what was it? What did they say? Let me Sugo. And then say insert. And then we're gonna do a direct to red FA1. Okay, here we go. Now let's check where we need to fly to. So let's increase this a little bit. So cool. Red FA1. That's a crazy end back, man. So let's say okay, we're gonna acknowledge it. Because if I open the plan, the red FA1 is over here. So we need to fly back almost to the UK and then try again. Well, for now, what I'm gonna do, I'm definitely not gonna fly back to the UK. Let me also try this. Let me do it a different way. Let me first fly a little bit here and then I'd say continuing to Sogol and then we're flying back. Let's do it that way. Yeah, great flying manually like this, yeah. Sometimes flying manually is even better. Because if you can see that, let's say, it doesn't react on all the things. You can even see that it doesn't react on these kind of things, right? If I change this, it doesn't even... It looks like that the autopilot is a little bit broken. Or maybe I'm doing something wrong, right? I'd say pretty sure that I'm doing something wrong, but... It's kind of weird that it doesn't follow the heading. Or the heading. And it's also not descending, so... looks like autopilot is a bit broken, to be honest. So, we're gonna do it a different way. If the aircraft doesn't listen, we're simply gonna do it ourselves. So the autopilot, of course, doesn't like it. But hey, I want to make some progression here. Because we're already live for 2 hours. Which is, I would say, not an issue, right? I still like to do it, but I simply want also to say within now and an hour, I would say we've been, I'd say, online for a pretty long time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the turn and we're gonna do some tweaking. Sugo is the one which we should fly to, but in this case, we're gonna say we're gonna fly to SPL, which I do think is the correct one. Let me have a look at it, because I was expecting... no, we're gonna do everything manually. We're gonna do it the easy way. Well, I'm not sure if it will be the easy way, but let's do it. So we're gonna decrease the aircraft, decrease the altitude. And we're gonna follow that pattern which we did fly before. Red FA1, I'm just trying to figure out what that thing has done. Vias, Sugo, insert. And we also need to watch out, right? We don't want to crash Alicante to East Midlands once and we had to emergency landing Valencia. Okay. Yeah, that's really a pro, right? If you can fly like that as a pilot, then you're really a pro. As you can see, I'm not a pro because I'm making a mess of it. So the plan is that we're gonna fly to Amsterdam Airport, which is over here. So what I'm gonna do is a little bit of bypass and fly like this. So 117, as you can see. Continue to near sea. Oh, Nearsea is not on the map, right? That's kind of weird. Well, we will simply accept it. And then we're gonna descend, right? Yeah, if everything is running on rails, it's boring. Yeah, fully agree with that. Maybe we should simply accept that things go wrong, right? I'm gonna decrease the or zoom out a bit. And as you can see, we're going at over speed like crazy, because normally I would say likely the airplane would have definitely been broken already. But in Flight Simulator, everything is possible. In Flight Simulator, you can break everything. So we're descending, as you can see. Now you saw some stuttering happening, right? So more, a little bit more. I'm gonna push the aircraft a little bit too hard. I know. And in the meantime, we're also going through the clouds. Let's decrease the descent altitude a bit. And let's see. So we're already, would say, almost good, right? Because you can now see that that purple thing over here might be a little bit hard to see, but that's, would say, at least tells us that we're going into the correct direction. Let me zoom out again a bit, and then let's make sure that we're making the right turns. So here we go. Yeah, 5,000. Bye-bye. We're not gonna do that. Normally I would do this. This is not really the perfect approach, I know. We're testing Flight Simulator, right? We can see that we're still limited by main threats sometimes. But overall it goes well. Now we should watch out that we're not climbing again, because that's not what we want. So we're gonna, say, change this to a lower range, because we're coming closer and closer to the airport. Right, so we're now on a good altitude. We're slowly descending. But that's fine. Let's also increase throttling a bit. Drop the flaps one slot. Then turn the aircraft into the correct direction. But let's also try to avoid that we're not going too slow, because that's also not good. As you can see, to explain to everybody, right, we can see that purple marker here and here. So we're going good for now. At least we're on the, say, almost on the perfect glide path, right? But we need to make sure that we're continuing to descend, because else we will have that same issue as we had earlier. But in the meantime, we also need to keep an eye on the direction of the runway. And you need to make small corrections, not big ones, because else you will end up in nightmare scenarios. So I'm gonna do the gears already down. That will slow down the aircraft massively. So you need to keep an eye on that. So let me do it like this a bit. I'm not, I would say, on my best today. I completely admit. But I would say the purple, I'd say, marker is still there. So we're going good. Say, push it a little bit further. But also make sure that we're on the correct, because we're flying. I would say altitude-wise we're going correct, but direction-wise we're going crap. But we can still correct it, right? Because we still have some space. to correct it. We still have some, say, because the runway is coming closer and closer. And now we need to watch out. You can see it's really foggy weather, right? It's really not that nice weather, as you can see. That likely also was misleading us a bit. So dropping the flaps another one. Let's pull the stick a little bit back. It's hard to see the runway, right? It's hard to see the runway, but hey, we're going good. See some new people are joining. We're trying to land on Schiphol Airport, but I made a mess of it the first time, so we did a go around. We're testing the performance of Flight Simulator 2024 sim update number 5 beta. And overall, we'd say our experience is that it's pretty good, but I'm flying into the wrong direction because the runway is there. Let's see if we can make it. This is definitely not the approach which you would normally do. I completely admit that, but this is how it goes as we speak, because I wasn't able to, or I wasn't looking very closely at everything. And I'm flying everything manually, right? We had a huge issue with the autopilot. The autopilot was simply, I would say, having an issue. But now we need to watch that we're not climbing too fast. I still need to adjust my throttling, I think. Not the best landing. You can see that, I would say, it doesn't really like it, right? But this is also worse landing, right? Because if you would look from the sidelines, then you would likely see, hey, what is this guy doing? And especially people who would watch on the sidelines, which you can do here on this runway, would say, hey, this guy is going crazy, right? Yeah, oh, we need to go around again. Well, bye-bye. I'm not gonna go around again. Sorry for all the noise. This is the Xbox controller joystick. So we've landed. So welcome to the Netherlands. Brian, I hope that your flight, if you go to the Flight Simulator weekend, is nicer. Because this landing was really, I'd say, not that good. So we're gonna request parking to the gates. And then we need to have a long taxi way, right? Because this is really, I would say, one which is pretty lengthy. As you might know, right, if you've ever been there. Here you can see that in this case, the main threat is really, really high on this airport for some reason. So I'm really wondering what's causing this behavior. Yeah, sometimes the taxi, yeah, I do think that if you land on this runway, then the taxi route is longer than the flight. Well, almost. So with that, right, is there something more we can test? I do think that we are gonna call it a day for now, because we're 2 hours and 40 minutes live. I hope you liked it. I liked all the interactions we had with you, all the chats. Really like it. Again, Brian, thanks for the donation. Really, I would say, really super nice from you. And again, both welcome to the Discord channel. Again, I will check the Discord permissions to make sure that you can post correctly, because I'm also gonna post my setup. Thanks for all the nice words, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'd say also enjoy playing Flight Simulator. If you're gonna fly, feel free to post all the stuff in the let's say in the Discord, right? If you got any nice for example flight plans, Then I'm also considering of adding that to the Discord, right, that you can share the flight plans. And as mentioned, next Friday there will be a surprise flight. We don't know where, we don't know which aircraft we're gonna use, but feel free to join also. Then we're gonna use Flight Simulator 2024. As you can see, Schiphol Airport is in front of us, traffic tower is in front of us, pretty busy. You can see that the main threat is now kindly, let's say, decreased. Thanks everybody, and wish you a nice remainder of the evening and nice remainder of the weekend.